will continue FizzBuzz. First, I'm going to be creating a package, and we're going to call it FizzBuzz. Do finish. All right, we're going to do a class, and if you didn't guess it before, you can guess it again. FizzBuzz. Now, I could have created this inside of my existing packages, but for the sake of people being able to easily jump in and get this done, you guessed it, that's what I'm doing. So I checked this box here to create my little static void main argument, so I don't have to type it out. I mean, I could type it out, but I'm a little lazy, so I just click the shortcut. Alrighty. Now I'm just going to go ahead and remove this. This is nothing but a automated generated message. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a method. But before we do that, I want to call that method, and then I'm going to shorthand that method so it's simple. Basically, I'm going to shorthand my initializing runtime. So print FizzBuzz. Okay, we're gonna do it 60 times. All right, the number inside there, it just represents how many times I want it to run. So we're gonna call that the runtime of 60 times. So we're just going to do this shorthand for initializing the runtimes. Okay. Now, the thing about this is it needs some code. So I'm going to write out a static method as well. And we're going to call it, you guessed it, print fizz. Buzz. See the name there? See the name here? Same thing. But notice that I didn't initialize an integer inside of there. I'm just calling it. So in order for me to do it properly, I'm going to int, and I'm going to call it runtimes. Okay? I'm going to begin the actual method, and let's just say it's the internal method using 60 to run 60 times. Okay, but I had to declare an integer first. Okay, all right, so don't worry, I will link to this code in stackOverflow. So the next thing is we need to set it to start doing its thing where it's going to start running and all that good stuff. I have an error here, sorry. I was thinking about print, but it should have been called public. Okay, all right. If you want to pause the video, write this, it's good. Now, one thing I want to tell you about learning how to do things like this is you have to type it out. Muscle memory is really how I truly get into the rhythm of things, but knowing how to do them is important. So that's why it's important to actually type out what you're seeing. So I need a for loop, because a for loop is going to do something in amount of times. When I say the word in, I could be meaning number, like the number of times it's going to do its thing, you know. So I'm going to start at 0. Now, let's be frank. We're going to use the numbers 3 and 5. Those numbers 3 and 5 are easy numbers to go through. I could use 2 and 4, but then I have a whole bunch of FizzBuzzes, you know? So I'm trying to limit the amount of prints that show the actual fizz or buzz, okay? So then I'm going to do number, okay? And as long as it's less than or equal to, we're going to call it runtimes, okay? Remember we got the runtimes at? Runtimes came from here. This became that, okay? So now we're saying for the number to run 60 times, okay? And then we're going to do this so that way this number keeps adding one to itself until it stops. And what I mean by adding one to itself is we have to do an iterator. Okay. What that will do is that'll make it so that it'll keep adding one to itself. 2, 3, 4. This plus plus means add another one, add another one, add another one. Okay. So we're basically telling it how many times to run. Okay. All right. Now the next one is our control flow argument. Let me fix that spelling error there. I'm not the best speller, but thank God for spell check. Alrighty. So if, and I'm going to do 1 right inside here. This is called a balance parentheses. That's where you put your expressions and arguments. But in our case, there are going to be 2 arguments. There's going to be 1 for 3 and 1 for 5. And they both have to happen before it can say the word FizzBuzz. Okay, so I'm just going to put this and I'm going to say both conditions must be met to say FizzBuzz. So the first one we're gonna put is number, right? Now this right here, that symbol right there, no, it's not a percent. No, I'm not getting a percent of whatever you're talking about. We're talking about divisibility. So divisibility being like, if a number is 3 and is divisible by 3, it would have no remainders. So therefore the remainders would be 0. You get it? Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing for 5. Number, okay, is divisible by 5 with no remainders. Okay. That means that if it's divisible by 3 or 5, it's going to print out the word FizzBuzz. But how we make it actually say FizzBuzz is on this next line. So I like to try to format this really good for us. For those of us who are using Eclipse, there's the shortcut. You hold on the control button, tap the space bar. For those who do other programs, I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. You know, life sucks. You got to type the whole thing out. All right. FizzBuzz. Okay. All right. And then we're going to do a semicolon. And this is actually going to print out the word FizzBuzz. Now, you're probably asking, why didn't I do one and then do the second one and then do this one last? The reason why I didn't do this one last is because we would have a whole bunch of fizzes at the top and buzzes at the top, and the FizzBuzz would be at the bottom, and it would be very messy. I'd rather it hit this condition first and say FizzBuzz than for me to have separate actual, like, I guess, false positive instances of the method showing the wrong results. So I'm putting in the first result to meet both conditions so that that one is being seen first. It's a little thought about this, but it's important, okay? Now, we're going to do else if. Else if simply means that if you don't see both of these conditions met, then hopefully the number is divisible by 3 and has no remainders. And if it has no remainders, you guessed it, print it out. So otherwise, if it is divisible by 3 only, print fizz. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to do sys out, control spacebar, and then I'm going to type in fizz. Okay? Now, you see this one and that one, this one and that one, and that one, and that one. These must match. Okay? Anyways, we're going to keep going. So, fizz has been printed. So now we got to do another one. Alright? Elsif. Now, what you're probably asking is what is these Elsif things? What do these mean? Elsifs simply mean this. Otherwise. Get it? Otherwise. Or, you know, that's what it's going to be. Otherwise. Okay? And then we're going to do %5. Okay? It has no remainders. 0. Okay? And it's going to open up like that. Okay? Otherwise, it is divisible by 5, print buzz. So we're going to go down and we got to put our little sys out statement. If I can spell right. Thank God for spell check. Alright, and we're going to say buzz. Okay? Now, remember how we said otherwise, 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 you know what I mean? This one is like the default. What I mean by default, it means that if these 3 conditions are not met, then it's defaulted, and there you go. Shorthand way. I should say, we're going to keep it simple. This one is not going to be anything. There's nothing to this. This, it has no actual met condition, so it defaults to the number. And the number we're going to print, you guessed it, number. Okay? Alrighty. So, we've got that. It's all set away. Okay? Now we're looking to make sure we have the same amount of 1. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to need 1 more here. 4. Okay? And that should do it. So the package is called FizzBuzz. Let's run it and see what happens. FizzBuzz 1, 2, fizz 4, buzz, fizz 7, 8, fizz, buzz, fizz, buzz, fizz. You get the point. And it gets down to 60 and actually says FizzBuzz. I hope you enjoyed this learning session of how to code FizzBuzz. Have a great day, and may your health and wealth be of great value, and you see the best days ahead.